What's up? How are ya? How are you, I should say? What is going on? What are you doing? Drinking coffee? Drinking a Coke? I don't even remember the last time I've had a Coke was. I don't really drink much soft drink, to be honest, but that's beside the point. Today we're talking about bringing the passion back, bringing the simplicity back. And business essentially should be or shouldn't be that hard. I don't mean that with any, I know it is hard. I'm just saying the key focus points should be fairly simple, should be relatively simple. We should be passionate about, we should be focused on, we should be diligent with making sure our people skills are good. In other words, we're retaining staff and retaining clients and finding staff and finding clients. We should be making sure our numbers are correct every job, every day, every week, every month, every year. We should also be making sure our product is good. And when I say product, I don't just mean, oh, I did this sickest pin clipping yesterday. Oh my gosh, it's every 300 mil. Oh my goodness. I'm talking about, yes, on-site work, fantastic, but also your off-site work. And about establishing those non-negotiables. And often you see when people get quite busy, they end up not getting back to people. So the day goes by, the next day goes by, the next day goes by. And, you know, realistically, you have to have some kind of non-negotiable that by the end of the business, by the close of the day, anyone that has called or contacted your company has received some form of communication, has received some form of text message, phone call, email, or something being responded to, especially if it's about work, even if it's something as simple as, hey, just saw this, we'll look at it tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we'll look at it Thursday at 11 o'clock, we'll look at it whenever, insert time, insert place, insert structure in this point. But I just think you've got to have those non-negotiables, and so many of us are good on the tools and it's just not good enough. It doesn't really mean anything. There's plenty of people that are good or excellent at the job, the actual on-site work, but if you want to run a successful business, you've got to your off-site stuff is just as important as the on-site stuff. In other words, the money is made or lost in the office. You hear us say that a lot. You'll hear me say that a lot. I've got that tattooed on the back of my head. On my lower back, might as well be a target, as they say in The Wedding Crashers. I love that movie. Possibly one of the best movies of all time. But I remember as a new business owner, we did a lot of cafe work, and we had a lot of we had this bakery we'd work for, and they ran like a pretty serious operation that ended up another larger company came and invested in, and so then they ended up pretty much eating up a lot of businesses in terms of buying a lot of businesses, not physically eating businesses. That'd be super weird, wouldn't it? But they bought out a lot of businesses and sort of took over those, like whether it was cakes or like littler bakeries and things like that. And they had a lot of cafes, and the cafe would sell coffee. And they brought in this guy, this specialty coffee guy, right? You know, specialty coffee guys, if you just stop for a minute and reflect on a person you know or a person you know at the cafe who's a specialty coffee guy. They're so funny. Like, it's such a niche. And when you pour the water, like, don't hit the paper. If you see me making my filter coffee every morning, I'm just pouring water, just like, give me the coffee. But some people, it's like an art, it's like a science, it's like a methodology, and there's a process. And to them, near enough is not good enough. It's got to be done a certain way. So I remember going to this cafe, right? We were working, and it's like, it was maybe, I'm going to say the day before it actually opened up, the day before handover. And you know, when the day before handover job, like, there's trades on site, every trade is on site, every trade is it's just like absolute chaos. You can't even put a ladder down because there's too many people present, and everyone's getting stuff off site, everyone's doing the defects, everyone's just sort of catching up. I remember like being there, and there was this staff training day, this coffee training day that this guy was running. And he was like, it was seriously like he was Mugatu, or that person from Devil Wears Prada that just rolls her eyes or purses her lips at everything. Like, he's like, bah! like throwing coffees back at people, and like, you know, I get farty and bloated with a foamy latte. Like that, this kind of like psycho coffee stuff, all right? And this cafe was super interesting because it's like they used to They'd be changing machines all the time. So they change beans sometimes, or they do their own beans, and they're changing from single phase to 3-phase machines, from 32 amps to 20 amps, from this to that, from a 4-burner to a 6-burner. I don't know much about coffee machines besides like, here's your isolator, here's your outlet. You just plug it in. If it doesn't work, call someone else, right? But I remember, so they got this new machine on, and it was trying to train people. And they're making this coffee, and then everybody listening to this guy all day go like, bah, yeah, oh, how hard is it? What's happening? And he's just going nuts. And then he sips this one, right? He sips this one coffee this girl made, and he's like, yes, that's the caramel. That's the caramel I'm talking about. The caramel. And he's like got his hands above his head, and everyone's like clapping. And he's like, that's the caramel, baby. That's the caramel. And he was so passionate. And it was like, I was kind of like, am I watching a satirical movie? Is this actually a skit? Am I getting punked? Is Ashton Kutcher somewhere? Remember that show? Is this like an actual improv scene from Step Brothers? I've got no idea what's happening. But this guy is going bananas, Gwen Stefani style, and everyone's clapping, and somehow, somewhere along the line, someone nailed the caramel. And it was like, and it got me thinking about like passion and how passionate that guy was about hitting this caramel. And I was like, how can I segue this into your business? What does this mean for your electrical business, for your solar business, for your aircon business? If you're any other trade, get stuffed. We only accept the enlightened trades in here. The trade gods have shone upon us because we are the smarter trade. Just look at yourself in the mirror and go, yes, CC. We are the smart trades. I remember going for my job interview, and to my boss, it was my boss and his dad, who will always be my boss, and it was Dave and Ron. And I remember they go like, why did you choose electrical? And I'm like, oh, I just thought it was, one of the smarter trades. And, I'm pretty smart. I don't know if I said I'm pretty smart, but I said I'm just one of the smarter trades. And I was right. Now, it got me thinking about passion and how we're going to segue that into your business. And I want you to be, sometimes you can lose the passion, you can lose the faith, and you need to keep the faith, Bon Jovi style. But sometimes in the monotony, in the hamster wheel, in the never-ending cycle of business, in the sort of like, the mundane comes like complacency, and with the complacency comes like a lack of focus, and with the lack of focus comes a lack of passion, and with the lack of passion comes a lack of execution. And I don't know if you've ever been in that position in business where you're just like, God, and I know I'm speaking to people here, I know I'm speaking to someone here, and you're just like, you know what, I've had enough. And whether you're throwing in the towel and going to work for someone else, or whether or not you're throwing in the towel just because it's too hard, or whether or not you're throwing in the towel because like, oh my gosh, I had this staff member calling sick, I had this personal crisis, I had this job go, I had this client not pay, I had this thing go, I misquoted this one, insert one of 1,000 reasons here why business can be tough. And the hardest thing is, sometimes it's tough because we make it tough. Sometimes it's tough and it's a self-inflicted pain that we've actually quoted something wrong and now we're frustrated at the lack of money in the bank account. We're not measuring our jobs every single day and we're like, where's the money? It's just not there at the end of the year. And we're running this course called the Accelerator course at the moment, where you literally like... you take every job every day and you measure it, you critique it, and we're getting amazing results from people doing this course, going like spiritual trade gods opening eyes. I once was blind and now I see. This is amazing grace, right? This is like I was blind to what I was doing and now I can see. And we want to open your eyes to the simplicity of business, to the passion. Find in the simple, find the passion, and in the passion, find your purpose. And in what are we doing here? Why are we running a business? Why did the trade gods shine upon you? Why did the trade gods speak to you? What got you to this point where you wanted to start a business? Chances are you wanted some more time or some more money, or a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of both. You wanted to set your family up for a good future, and you wanted to sort of call your own shots, be your own boss, bowl your own balls to talk cricket. Is that cricket? Maybe a little bit. I don't talk much cricket. But bring it back to the simplicity. Essentially, the simpleness of business should just be appreciated. You want people to come to you and you want to do their electrical work or the solar work or the aircon work, and you want to make a profit. That's pretty much, that's business 101. You want to make sure that be simple. Whatever you're doing right now, just reset it back to being simple. You want your product to be good, on-site and off-site. You want your numbers to be good, right? That's a massive part of business. But numbers have two sides, and they have the actual number side and they have the process side. In other words, sometimes a job can be quoted correctly and handled incorrectly. Sometimes a job can be quoted correctly, but we had that additional apprentice who might as well have been a potato on site. At least a potato would give you some carbs, right? Some energy, some more energy, right? And you want your product to remain good. In other words, you want people to walk past and be like, who did that? That's awesome. You want people to be like, hey, I called this person, they got back to me the same day, they booked it in, they quoted it over the phone, all this kind of stuff. You just, in the craziness, in the madness, in the mundane, find the simple, and in the simple, find the passion find the joy, right? Sending invoices every single Monday, non-negotiable for every businesses. It should be the best part of your week. It should be the brightest part of your week. It should be the part of the week where you get to send something. So, hey, yeah, you owe me 10 grand, 20 grand, 15 grand. It's exactly what I said it was going to be. It's exactly what the price book said it's going to be. It's exactly what I communicated. It's within the realm of what you knew was coming. There's no exceptions. There's no misunderstandings. There's no misconceptions, because we spoke about that, right? That's invoicing in its essence should be absolutely beautiful. You get to charge for something that you have delivered. And if you're delivering well, then you should be so proud when you send that invoice. And I remember someone said to me, it should be the best part of your week. And I'm like, God, it's so hard. Because I'm looking at the invoice going, I didn't have that conversation. I should have had that. I could have had that. I would have had that. I misquoted that over the phone. Actually, on the accelerator course last week, someone who shall remain nameless, told me the job, and it said it was $800, and I was like, that's wrong. That's wrong. This came straight out of my mouth. That's wrong. And he was like, this is before we even actually measured it. I'm like, that's wrong. And he goes, I know it was wrong. The client called me. I was under the pump. I was under a lot of stress. I was running on the wheel. I hadn't had a sip of water in 7 days, right? Hadn't had a carb since 2004. Step Brothers reference. Maybe you had too many carbs since 2004. But he goes like, I know that was, as soon as I was saying it, it's like I was watching myself sort of say it. I don't know if you've ever felt like that before, because of whether it's insecurity or ego or a lack of financial, a lack of numbers understanding or whatever, just a complete misquote, complete balls up, you might say, a complete cock up, right? So he says this, does the job, lost money, and we're kind of laughing about it. Like, you knew it was wrong from the start, but how much education can we bring to that to be like, how does that not happen again? So what do you do in that situation? I'll tell you what you do. This is what you do. You get into some kind of program, or get into some kind of rhythm, or get into some kind of process where you measure every single job and critique it. Did it go well? Why? Let's do it again. Did it go okay? Why? How can we do better? Did it go bad? Why? Let's not do that again. Let's not work for that person again. Let's not come under someone else again. Let's rise up and be the electrical business, the solar business, the aircon business that we always wanted to be. But with the logging of the numbers comes the understanding. With the understanding comes the confidence. With the confidence comes the knowledge of how to correctly execute. And with the knowledge of how to correctly execute comes the money. And with the money comes the ability to either buy your time back or reinvest into the business, or I've achieved my 40 hours in 32, my 32 in 24, my 24 in 16. Now I have a choice what I would like to do with that additional time. So everything comes back to, knowledge is confidence, and confidence is everything. So in your business craziness, in your manicness, in your hamster wheelness, your dryness, your washing machine just going round and round and round on some kind of psycho spin cycle, can we peg ourselves back? Can we pull ourselves back? Can we pull the curtains open and see the caramel? The caramel, baby! The caramel! Can you see the caramel and be like, what? That's what we're after. The caramel, the simplicity. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was the caramel. Everyone's going to stop and clear and clap, cheer and clap. And it's like, find the simplicity. Find just whatever you're doing, just go, we're coming into summer. I know it's hard to see because you've probably got your fireplace on. So it's like, you want to get your business bod right? Your biz bod ready now. Your business body, your business summer body will thrive if your numbers are correct. Your business body will thrive in summer, in the busy part of the year, right? If you can set your foundations up now. I often think people that haven't grown yet, sometimes just like you don't know how beautiful that is, like that you can set your foundations up and grow profitably, grow healthy, grow with like direction, grow with purpose, and grow with authenticity, that you don't have to change the way you do things or your pricing structure because like it was correct from the get-go. I often think that's one of the most underrated and underestimated things. Don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise slow growth. Don't look for the fast result. Look for the right result. And sometimes the right result can be the fast result. In other words, like that's a quick turnaround, let's do it. And sometimes the right result is a slow result, right? But whatever happens, make sure you're on the right side of a right result. And you know, like whatever happens, increase your knowledge with numbers. Build your product up so it's sick. Build your product up so you're proud of it. Build your product up so people will be like, people will tell people will tell people will tell people. If you can get your numbers correct and you know it's correct and you're like, that job went at 40%, that at 30, that at 20, do that again, increase that, raise this, do this, tweak that, chop that, change that, adjust that, right? If you can get that part right and you know you're hitting the right figures, then you can grow from a place of confidence. And with that growth, you're not going to be able to take a backward step because it's like, I'm pricing correctly, I've got the right clients, I've got the right staff on board, the foundations are correct, and now I'm stepping forward into my trade God ordained destiny of time, of money, and of that family time that I always wanted, of that like that generational financial sort of like amazingness that a profitable business can bring. So whatever you're doing, I want to encourage you to take Vanilla Ice's theory, to stop, to collaborate, and to listen to what your numbers are telling you, to what people are telling you about your product, to what your staff turnover is telling you, to what your client turnover is telling you. Everything in your business is currently talking to you. Are you listening? Don't get caught up in the stuff. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day shenanigans. Oh, that person glared at me sideways. Oh, that person's not going to expect. Like, don't get caught up in the crap, so to speak. Get caught up in the right things. As a business owner, get caught up, get swept up in the right things. So wherever you're at, find the caramel, back to basics, back to simplicity, people skills, keep your product amazing, get your numbers education in there, and don't accept anything less than a successful, profitable business that's giving you some time, that's giving you some money, and that's boosting forward for decades and generations to come. We are Sparky Coach. Look at yourself in the mirror before we go and say, woofity woofity, I am the big dog and I will do big dog things. You are the big dog, do some big dog things, make it happen, make it happen. Make it happen. Peace.